And I think in this whole process too of what happens to the bay and the point is to look not just at what the ultimate plan is, but what the interim plan is, because it may take some time to establish some other things. But I think first and foremost, we want people to be as safe as possible when they are trying to access the area. And I've been down that trail, and it's a little scary. And so we want to make sure that whatever we're providing is the safest, and we're not leading people astray by sending them into a dangerous situation. So that will be up there as one of the topics to kind of resolve as we're talking about what happens to this.
Charmaine, two things. One, there has been concern as we identify, as you mentioned, the areas that we would like to have for our community. The question of land ownership. How do you see this occurring? Should we ask that whatever land we plan to purchase is and does show a clear title? I think there's a question if we go and we want to prove that Maui Land and Pine does own that land. Will we ask them, or will you ask them for a clear title?
Oh yes, yeah, we would have to, because what I see as one of the possibilities is that the county will own this land or may not own this land. We may turn it over to a nonprofit like the Coastal Land Trust or some other organization like we did at Mo'olea Point over in Hana, where there is a nonprofit organization that's responsible for the management of that, 60-something acres on the shoreline there in Hana. So I could see the similar thing happening here, or maybe it's part of it would be maintained by the County of Maui, and the other part would be maintained by another nonprofit organization or Coastal Land Trust of sorts. So there's a lot of options, but we want to make sure that the title, when the land's turned over to us, is clear title. So we'd have to go through that process to make sure that it is.
And we heard you saying earlier that you plan to meet with Maui Land and Pine. Mm-hmm. This meeting is preliminary, but you foresee, as you've stated here this evening, the community having an input on what we'd like to see,
yes, definitely,
and the lands we seek for purchase.
Right. Because I don't know Honolua Bay like you folks do. I don't know that area like you do. So it doesn't make sense for me to sit in and dictate what the heck should go on. This is in your community. You folks know it best. You know what the uses are. You know what you'd like it used for. So it makes sense for you folks to be involved in this process, for sure.
And finally, Charmaine, we are starting to now get together with many people that have knowledge about the cultural past and its significance. Will this play a big part in how we go about communicating with you and your ministry?
Right, exactly. And we have to make sure that we are being sensitive to the culture, and especially the ancient culture. So if there are kupuna who know what has traditionally gone on in the area, or if there are sites that are significant in the area that haven't been destroyed, then we need to preserve those for the future. So I see us doing a whole archaeological study as part of this, and to consult with the kupuna, make sure that we're not desecrating any area that has been sacred or is sacred to them from what happened in the past.
Thank you.
Hi, Charmaine.
Hi.
I'm just questioning the watershed study. Human impact and rubbish, refuge, is that going to be included?
I'm sorry, I don't know if I understand
The
your question.
study on the natural watersheds, the stream in Honolua and the rest
Oh,
over
the
here.
stream studies?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are they to include human impact, not just rerouting impact?
Yes, yeah, all the impacts. And if there are, some of those impacts that we know are negative, so that has to be taken out of the equation. So if there has been some sort of where people dumping in the stream bed, then that stuff's got to be cleared out. That particular practice has to stop, because that's impacting the stream, definitely.
is there going to be calculations for future, like okay, we're going to figure that this many people are going to be able to access once it's come up, once the decision is made on how to access, like Uncle was saying, we need an idea of preparedness on being there to begin with, like rubbish cans, like places for people to use the restroom, you know, and signs that say, hey, yo, do this, use it, hello.
Yes, that'll all come in with the management plan, and maybe that sounds like a fancy word, but the management plan is just that. It's a plan for determining what is the capacity of the area and how it's regulated. And I think a real good example of that is what happened at Honolua Bay on Oahu. And when I first graduated from the University of Hawaii, there weren't any jobs on Maui, so I worked on Oahu for a while. My first job was with the City and County of Honolulu as I was a recreation specialist, and I was the camp specialist for Honolua Bay. And at that time, anybody and everybody could go down there whenever the heck you wanted to, and as time went by, the capacity got to the point where the bay was being degraded to a point where they thought they were going to lose it. So they turned that into a reserve, a preserve, and they limited the number of people that could go down. You can't drive down there anymore. You have to come in by bus, and it was regulated. And because they did that, the bay recovered, and the fish came back, and the reefs started to, you know, thrive. So I see the same thing. We don't want to get to the point where Honolua Bay was, you know, 30 years ago. We want to make sure that we don't get to that point, or if we are near that point, to stop it. But we need to look at what is the capacity of that bay. Things like the gentleman brought up, I think it was Uncle that brought up about the boats mooring inside the bay. Things like that have to be regulated. People need to understand you can't be dropping anchor on the reef. You know, you drop anchor outside where you're not going to disturb the reef or impact it. Some of those things seem like they're small, but they have a huge impact, and they become big things if they're not controlled. So all that is part of that management plan I'm talking about. So it's the, you know, capacity, the trail designations, how many people do you think we can support in that, and if it comes to a time where we say only X number of people can go down there, then there'll be X number of people that go down there. You know, we just have to do it in order to protect it. We can't love it to death like some people do. Question?
I was watching on the news like how Del Monte on Oahu shut down their pineapple operations, and I know in the 70s they didn't know that DDT was as harmful as it is today. If Maui Land and Pine finishes their pineapple production, is the county going to hold them accountable to restore the land back to how it was before they did their pineapple production? There's a lot of like black plastic all over the place and just everywhere. And are they going to be held responsible for cleaning that up?
I think so. I think they have to be. And they were held accountable for some of the pesticides that they used. Until today, they're still participating in some of the, you know, paying for the filters and things that we have to now use for our groundwater because of the contaminations in the pineapple fields.
Hello. I just wanted to ask a question, kind of what Wayne Ishiki was heading towards. We know that $1 million isn't enough. I know it's a starting point, and I'm so excited that we got this starting point. But what do you as a mayor or as a head of the county council see as the ultimate amount that you would like to see for this project?
I don't think there is an ultimate amount, and by the way, I'm not the head of the county council.
I know.
Yeah, as mayor, I think that there are things, and some options have been put forward on the table, but I think that it's going to take some public-private partnerships too, so some fundraising to help. To build a pot, make it bigger for whatever. There is also possibilities of trading off park credits for land that they might donate, things like that. So there's some, you know, there's a lot of combinations that can occur.